Perhaps nothing feels better than being reborn. Okay, so maybe I've never actually been reborn, but Cardano has, and it happened today. This was the day that we got reference inputs, inline datums, reference scripts, and a new Plutus cost model. This is a wholesale rebirth of Cardano's smart contract system as Plutus v2. Now all of the dApps can begin launching. This creates a beautiful information asymmetry for all of us inside the Cardano ecosystem. Everyone else in crypto never really took the time to understand Plutus 1.0, so they definitely won't understand the significance of Plutus 2.0. Not yet, anyways. But now it's time for us to sit back and enjoy the discoveries that'll be revealed by the reborn Cardano. Ready? Let's go. Today, we are going to discuss this gigantic leap forward with Plutus v2, some trouble in Catalyst land, the big Maladex reveal, Charles straight destroying questions from the founder of Messari, another big Cardano milestone today, and a new platform for Cardano event tickets from a very familiar face. If your first thought when you saw this image was, that baby turtle is the reborn Cardano, and it's definitely headed out to the ocean, not the pond. Or if you're finding value in these videos each weekday, please consider delegating to the Army of Spies stake pool, ticker AOS. And I'm also still hunting for just the right sponsor for these videos. So if you're interested in sponsoring this channel, either for a bunch of videos or maybe just for a few videos, hit me up on Twitter at Army Spies, at Army Spies. Here it is, guys. We are now one epoch after the Vossel Hardfork Combinator event, and it's time for the main event when our blockchain includes things like reference inputs, inline datums, reference scripts, those are SIPs 31333, and a new Plutus cost model. We have talked a million times about what all these things are. If you have no idea what those words mean, just know Plutus smart contracts, which are Cardano smart contracts, can do a lot more than they could in the past. They can do certain key things that a lot of our dApp projects really need in order to be able to run the different functions they want to execute on in an efficient way. So now all of these dApps, I think, we've had a few dApps here and there launching prior to the availability of these functions with SIPs 31-33, but a lot of projects really needed these features. Now those are in place. Now all these dApps can launch. This really is Cardano diving into the oceans for the first time. True, usually we use the ocean as a metaphor for all of the developers out there who have nothing to do with crypto. And the ocean is where we're going to find all those developers, bring them into crypto. It's also a little bit of a metaphor for the mainstream who has nothing to do with crypto so far. Maybe they've done a tiny bit of use of crypto for the purpose of speculation, but they're certainly not involved in all of the things that we want to do with smart contracts in Gen 3 blockchains like Cardano. Now we can sort of dive headfirst into that ocean, whether we're talking about attracting developers, attracting the mainstream. One of the things we need for that is a healthy and thriving dApp ecosystem. We already have a healthy and thriving NFT ecosystem, and we have a healthy and thriving community of dApp teams, dApp development teams who were waiting for these tools so they could actually launch their dApps. Now we're here, and we're going to enter this era, the Babbage era, where we start seeing all of these dApps launching. Soon, we're going to see the launch of the Lace wallet. I believe IOG is going to unveil that at the Rare Bloom event in Denver. As far as I know, the Lace wallet is going to have a dApp store included with it of certified and uncertified dApps. I have no idea if that'll be at launch or if that's down the road, but eventually I believe the plan is for the Lace wallet to have a dApp store inside of it. this is a whole new world where everybody sees, everybody in crypto, and hopefully a lot of people each day, a lot more people from the mainstream, from the ocean of mainstream consumers who have nothing to do with crypto. They see the thriving dApp ecosystem that's being built right now in Cardano. This Cardano project that we all seem to be a part of has been one of the most front-loaded projects ever. It's been nothing but work and a community who believed in the work that was being done without a whole lot of payoff. I mean, we've always been building toward this blockchain ecosystem where all of these dApps would be thriving and flourishing. And it's been a long time coming. I mean, Cardano wasn't founded yesterday. In fact, Cardano was founded exactly 5 years ago from today as I record. Here's a post from IOG. Cardano community celebrates a 5-year anniversary today. A lot has happened over these 5 years. Connections were built, milestones were achieved. And this is how much work has been front loaded in this ecosystem. Today is the day that we achieve a smart contract system that can service the needs of the kind of thriving dApp ecosystem that we're looking for. It's been 5 years of work. I think probably everybody involved in the founding of Cardano would be the first ones to acknowledge that they probably didn't imagine it would take this long, but it seems like that's how all great things work. The people who set about creating that great thing, they usually vastly underestimate how long it's going to take. But by the time they get involved with it and they've already put in the amount of work that they thought would achieve the result, they've already put in too much effort. There are a bunch of sunk costs involved, thank goodness, that keep them working and building, and they eventually make it to the goal. This is great because those same people might not have undertaken the endeavor if they would have realized how long it would have really taken. I think that's probably true of a lot of great things, and it's probably true of Cardano. I don't know how enthusiastic the founding individuals and entities would have been if they would have known it would have taken 5 years to get to this point, but none of that really matters anymore. That's all in the past. It took 5 years, and there were, I can't even imagine the amount of stress, pain, effort, striving that's gone on inside an entity like IOG. How do you get through 5 years of hard labor, all super front loaded, hard labor to finally achieve something like this 5 years down the road? I mean, we really haven't seen the launch of the thriving dApp ecosystem we've all been looking forward to. That's all going to happen now. It's kind of a miracle that any entity could withstand the storm of 5 years, especially given the amount of criticism and misrepresentation and intellectual dishonesty that Cardano suffered. But here we are, and that sort of maelstrom of negative energy from a lot of the rest of the crypto space and the long road to get to this point when the dApps can finally launch, it's been a forge that's created what I think we can safely call the strongest community in crypto. You could say that Bitcoin has a very strong community, sure, but a lot of that has to do with Bitcoin's status as the first. Cardano is different. It's a Gen 3 blockchain. It's part of the third generation. I don't think any Gen 3 blockchain could even really dream of creating such a strong and committed community. Cardano has this because of this 5 years, this 5-year angry cauldron, this angry forge, which has created this super strong community. And here we are 5 years later, dApps are finally launching, and the ecosystem has what I think is the strongest community in all of crypto. If you believe the Cardano community was truly created in a forge, then this is the guy who is hammering away at the anvil for the last 5 years. He definitely wears his heart on his sleeve, and that's okay because that seems to only show people how much he really cares about this whole crypto thing and the philosophy behind it. This idea that we can have a better economic system that does good things for the world, that creates this equal economic playing field, a more fair economic system for the entire world. This dude seems to really care about that. Charles was recently interviewed on stage at Messari's mainnet conference by this guy, who's the co-founder of Messari. And you can kind of tell what's going on here just from his body language. I think it was pretty concisely summed up by this poster who said, the guy interviewing Charles is clearly hostile toward Cardano and Charles. But how did this interview go, even despite what at least one person is characterizing as a hostile interviewer? Well, no matter how pejorative the questions became, Charles proceeded to give a masterclass in clown management. At one point, and I believe this was at 10:25, and I'm going to paraphrase, but at one point, he asked Charles, "Are you building the platonic ideal of a race car or a race car?" This is a pretty insulting question. He's trying to paint Charles as some stodgy professor who's creating some conceptual philosophical thing that'll never actually reach the real world. And throughout this interview, Charles just took him through everything we've got going on in the Cardano ecosystem. He pointed out how Cardano is very much rooted in the real world with real-fi dApps like World Mobile launching soon and touching the lives of real people and doing something that all of us in crypto probably think is a good use of blockchains. Despite all that, the pejorative questions just kept coming, and Charles fielded every single one perfectly. I think that's because in Cardano, we're not playing around. We're not joking around about doing the crypto things, the good crypto things. A lot of crypto is people talking about the ideals of crypto, but really just trying to make a few $1,000,000. That's not what Charles is doing here. He's already made his money. He's trying to leave a mark on the world and create something better for the whole world. And it really rings true in these kind of interviews, because you have somebody trying to paint Cardano and Charles in kind of a negative light in an interview like this. But so much of the work has already been front loaded and so much is already going on in Cardano. It's hard to deny where we're actually headed as soon as you're confronted with the facts. Charles was being so polite here that the Messari guy seemed to barely even notice that he was experiencing an embarrassing wholesale intellectual dismantling. I think Charles was following the swaddle your sword in silk and your enemy won't even feel it being plunged into his heart strategy. But all in all, I would call this picture perfect clown management. Speaking of the thriving community of Cardano dApp development teams waiting to unleash their platforms, today is day T-0 for Maladex and their big surprise. We already know they responded that it's not the launch of their actual platform, but it's something else big. It looks like this will be the first chance to actually find out what this is. This is going to be a Twitter space, and it's called The Reveal. This leads me to believe that we'll actually find out what the surprise is. I have a feeling it's going to be something that we'll all be interested in, just given what we already know about the Maladex project. And it even turns out that there are projects launching in the Babbage era of Cardano that we didn't even know about. It turns out Adam Dean had a stealth project called GateKeeper. He says, it really gives me shivers to finally announce today that GateKeeper, a tool that started as a pipe dream in my head many months ago, is finally being released tonight for its minimum viable product debut. He says, what is GateKeeper? GateKeeper is an open source platform to leverage Cardano native assets and the SIP30, SIP8 message signing standard to create a secure way to prove ownership of a native asset at an IRL event without needing to bring your crypto with you. He says it's pretty bare bones for now, but already includes event and user management to perform most of the tasks necessary to allow your holders to create a virtual ticket and then check in at your event. He says staff members working at the door of your event simply need any device with an internet connection and a phone, a camera, which could be a phone, that can scan the provided QR codes to quickly and securely check attendees in with next to no hassle and cryptographic proof of ownership. This is great. We've always had this weird contradiction. Whenever we have a Cardano event, but in most cases, we weren't really able to have any kind of convenient Cardano blockchain-based ticketing for the event. No longer. I think this is probably going to be a great product for Cardano in real life events. Thank you, Adam Dean. You are a builder. Finally, you didn't think I'd let you off without any metaverse news, did you? FutureFest is having an event on September 29th, their Yummi Island event. Looks like the virtual world opens at 7 p.m. Eastern, and the first act goes on at 8 p.m. Eastern. Once again, I'm going to try to make it to this event and explore around a little bit more. Last time, it was a pretty impressive virtual world they crafted for that last event, and I didn't even get to experience all of it. People asked me after the fact if I had ridden the roller coaster, done this, done that, and I had missed like 80% of it. So I'm going to try, if I can, to make it to this one and hopefully explore more of what FutureFest has to offer. I'm looking forward to this. I hope you're having a great week here, finally in the Babbage era of Cardano, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.